Well, welcome back, folks. This is going to be one of those unusual episodes that I don't usually produce. I'm usually doing vlogs or little techie thingies there, and I figured that this was probably a perfect time to produce this one in particular for those who are slightly overweight, and I was one of those. So believe you me, it was not an easy thing to do way back. I'll give you a little backstory. This is how I personally lost over 130 plus pounds. About 2 years ago, I was having problems in April. Uh, I was just getting sick, terribly sick. Well, not sick, but sick enough. I was having problems sleeping. I was vastly overweight, and I was having some complications in breathing. So this was on April 7th of 2015. So what I had to do is I went over to the local hospital that's close by, and luckily enough they took me in regards to this. And at the same time, while I was there getting better, I decided at that point, because I told the doctor, I said, look, you know, I just don't know what to do. And at that point, what I did do and was to actually start a diet. And I took the basic way of doing diets these days. I took a hard look at myself in regards to it, and I'll give you guys some tips and tricks in regards to this, because it has helped me out, and I lost over 100, like I said, 130, 140 pounds in total of weight. This here is something I would also suggest seeing or consulting your personal physician or your personal doctor in regards to this, to see if this is the right thing for you as an individual, because everybody's different. I know one of them. I know myself personally. I'm like one of those husky. I like to say this. I'm like a tractor trailer. I am built big and rugged. Not the fastest one on the block. Not like these dragsters that can do the quarter mile in under 4 seconds flat. But this has worked for me. What I had done is I did some extra research on weight loss programs while I was waiting in the hospital getting better, and I had actually found an application, and I'm going to post it down below in the comments down below. The actual application that I'm using to help me keep track of my calories that I take in on a daily basis. These things I do say with great concern that this might not be for everybody, but it has worked for some people like myself that has gone through this, and I would highly suggest for those that the doctor says, yeah, go for it, please do it. You'll thank yourself later in regards to this. The application that I'm actually using at home here is called Diet Organizer for the Windows PC. There's a sister program for the Macintosh side, for if you're using like a MacBook Pro or a iMac, a regular PC from the Apple line of things, called Diet Controller, and they're virtually identical. They're the exact same application. It's just one is PC based, one is Macintosh based. So they're exactly the same. They do the exact same thing. The other thing is, as well, especially when you're measuring or counting calories, I've done this where you actually use a small digital scale. It doesn't have to be a super. It doesn't have to be the top of the line, $200-300 scale. It could be a simple scale, $15-20 scale that you can pick up at the dollar store or at the local pharmacy, which will help you measure the food. Okay. Now, with these two things, it'll give you a start. The diet organizer or the diet controller, the actual application, requires a little work on your part. Okay, meaning that it's going to have already some information on some foods in there but it's not going to have everything. So I mean, I've used it, and what I've done is I simply take the information that I have from the foods, like example, mac and cheese from Kraft. Okay, I know there's a version out there for the people in the States. There's another version for North America, like in Canada, for example. Hot dogs, bread, pasta, you name it. Okay, and what I do is I usually put in I take a look at the nutritional value on the side and the suggesting servings that they have on the foods, including the wieners, hot dogs, whatever, and I put that into the database. Okay, straight out, put it in. Takes me 30 seconds. I put in what information there is available from the nutritional value sticker, and I put that into the diet organizer or the diet controller. As I prepare my meals, even if it's a bowl of cereal, what I'll do is I'll use the weighing scale, weigh it out, the portions, like if it's, as an example, 4 ounces of orange juice or cereal, Quaker's Harvest Crunch, I may use, 60, 70 grams. I put that, mark it down on the sheet of paper, and when I go downstairs, I put that in. Sometimes what I'll do is, especially for lunch, or more importantly for dinner, okay, this is usually the heaviest part. Usually the heaviest meal at night is usually dinner. Usually when I prepare my breakfast and lunch and all that at home, I'll usually do that the night before. When I go to work. If I'm home, like on the weekends, I'll do it as I go throughout the day, so it's not so bad. And then what I do is I make sure that, because the typical person should be eating about 2,000 calories a day. A typical person. What that typical person is, I have no idea. But it's kind of like a general rule of thumb to work by. What I usually do is I try to stay between 14 and 1,800 calories a day in regards to this. 7 days a week. I'll permit 1 day a week where I can actually splurge on myself, meaning that let's say, as an example, Saturday. Usually Saturday is the weekend. Usually for something like that, going to like a nice restaurant, like whether it's a buffet restaurant or it's going to have a hamburger, or if it's going to have fast food, whatever the case may be, whatever restaurant it is. I reserve that 1 day a week to at least splurge myself out of the 7 days. Okay? Yes, you can go over a little bit. It's not going to kill you. You can. I usually try to stay under the 2,000 calorie mark. It's not always going to be easy, and I can tell you that. I've gone through it. And especially dealing with that part of the diet itself, yes, it's hard. Especially when you're not used to it. And it may look daunting in the very beginning when you start doing it, but after a while it becomes more of a routine afterwards, and you don't always have to keep entering the same product, because once you enter it in once and you save it into the diet organizer or the diet controller, it's there. Okay, so all you have to do is just basically call it up, measure the food, that's it. The other thing too that will help you out, and this I've done probably a couple of months after I started right after I started just measuring out my food. I had gotten myself something very simple, and you can pick these here up at the local store. Local store. One of them is what they call as a smartwatch. These little guys here. This one here happens to be a Pebble smartwatch 2. Now Pebble's gone actually bankrupt. They were sold over to Fitbit in regards to, because they decided that they couldn't be competitive enough, and since the especially in the smartwatches area, There's a fierce competition between Fitbit, smartwatch, Samsung. There are so many different smartwatches out there, especially for exercise and all that, that they couldn't keep up. So that's the other thing too. A smartwatch will help you out for your exercise. Now, what I'm doing for myself is I do a lot of walking. And since I usually go do a lot of walking, I'll go, like, since I usually work in Montreal, what I'll usually do during the week, I usually get up fairly early and head into Montreal and go to work. At the same time, while I'm going to work, I do some exercise, but at the same time, I get there early enough where I can have, let's say, an hour or two ahead of my actual scheduled work time to actually do some exercise, because I deal in IT and I'm usually sitting around for most of the day, and when you sit down most of the day, you're not doing anything. So what I usually do in the mornings is I plan myself a little route. So let's say, as an example, because I used to work at a local bank in Montreal, I'll usually stop off one subway station after the actual stop that I'm supposed to get off of, especially during the winter time, and I'll go through the underground. In other words, I actually measure from where I get off to where I actually was supposed to be at the office. And then I also plan a route that I can do in the mornings when I'm actually in Montreal, and that with that hour and a half time span in the mornings before I actually start, it'll give me a chance to do actually some exercise. What I usually did in the very beginning of the diet itself, especially with the walking wise, is start off small. I'm not expecting you to jump with both feet into this and expect you to do 10 to 20 or even 30,000 steps in one single day. It can be done, but that's when your body becomes efficient enough to actually do the walking, meaning that you can actually spend that time, if you have time in the morning, lunchtime, and in the evening, to actually get that many steps in. But at the very beginning, just concentrate of getting 2, maybe 3 miles in a day. If you can do that, then that's a good start off. Yes, you're going to feel sore in the very beginning. Make sure that you're, when you are doing your exercise, that you're wearing a good, comfortable, decent pair of running shoes, or a piece of, decent pair of shoes that you can actually walk with, that your feet are not going to feel sore. Do that for a little while, and then as your body becomes more accustomed to doing the exercise, then you can slowly increase the amount of walking. The longer you walk, the more exercise you get in, the more steps that you'll be able to do. And you'll be surprised after a while that you'll be able to get anywhere between 15, I would say, like for myself personally, I'm anywhere between, I would say, in a good day, minimum I would usually do on a good day is like maybe 15, 16,000 very easily. On an exceptional day, I can easily go up to 27, 28,000 steps without any problems. So that I would consider a very good day. And you'll be surprised after a while the amount of exercise that you do, that you'll be able to do easily 2 to 3 hours worth of walking without any problems. During the weekends, or like when I go out on Saturday as an example, or even when I'm around the house, what I'll do is I'll make sure on a daily basis, Monday through Sunday, is I'll take time to actually plan a simple route, whether it's going to, let's say, a local coffee shop, not that's close to my house, but one that is a good distance for walking, and walk it to there and back. So you can easily catch up 4,000 to 8,000 steps right there on a good day. That's what I usually do. I've done in conjunction of going to the local shopping center that's close by, which is like maybe another 700 steps to go into the building, and then do a small tour there, and then come back home. So that'll give you easily 14,000. Easily 14,000 steps. Uh, Plan your routes, even in the very beginning. Even if it's just to do two or three small laps to start off with, uh, just to get your feet wet, and you'll see the weight will start coming off. At the same time, also get yourself a scale for you. Like I have a simple Starfrit one, and when I was weighing in at the time when I was at the hospital, it was at 378 pounds. By the time I got out of the hospital and I had to go to the walk-in clinic, um, I think about a week or two later, from the time I got out of the hospital and the time I came back to the walk-in clinic, at that time I had lost, I think, within about 3 weeks, 32 pounds. So that was a great start. So I was on the right track in that. So for something like this, for yourself personally, you can do this. It doesn't have to be an excessive amount. I mean, if you're only planning to lose, a couple of pounds, 5, 10, 15 pounds, it's not so bad. You can do you don't have to do as much walking in order to do that, in order to get to your ideal weight. If it's only like 5, 10, whatever the amount of pounds you want to lose. If it's something to the extent like where I had lost over 140, over 130 plus pounds, then yeah, you're going to do a lot more walking and a lot more exercise during the week, just to be able to get that weight loss off, to get that weight down and turn the fat into muscle, and also keeping track of your calories. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a look to see for those links as well and put them together so that way you can actually take a look. And I'm going to actually show you the actual weighing machine. Like I said, you don't have to get something super expensive, but it's at least worthwhile to have and to do. And you can get your buddies to do this with you too. So I usually encourage, if you have friends or family members who want to do it with you, please do. This will actually be beneficial for them and for you in regards to losing your weight. The other thing also I want to mention as well, and I've been doing this since I've started doing my weight loss as well. Since you might be using a Mac, you might be using a Windows PC. If you don't have like a spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel or one of the other paid spreadsheet programs, you can also download LibreOffice or OpenOffice, which are another set of office suites that you can actually download for free. They're very similar to like Word, Excel, Microsoft Access, and a few other applications altogether. If you don't have the Microsoft suite for your computer, you can actually download that. And what I've done is, as I go through with my tracking, and just to show you here on my Pebble watch or my Pebble machine, and I'm actually using my tablet for the actual application to view my stats or my activity for the day, just so you have an idea where. Yep, here we go. Yep. Where I have the amounts, like on here, where it shows the amounts walked, calories burnt, the miles and all that, and how long it took the walking that I did for the day. What I usually did for myself personally is I've used the Excel spreadsheet, marked in one column just for the dates, one column for the actual steps I've taken, the miles, the calories burnt, the amount walked in total distance in miles or kilometers, and the amount of time of exercise that I did for that day. I did that. I had it on one spreadsheet. I had it on one spreadsheet in the spreadsheet application. I also created another one, a second spreadsheet within there where you had different spreadsheets already there, where I can actually take for the month, let's say for the month, the minimum that I walked, the maximum number I've walked, like the amount of steps walked, and then the average of what I've walked during that month. And I did that for both the walking, the amount of calories burnt, the minimum, maximum, the average, the miles walked, minimum, maximum, and my average. And I set that up even for the calories. So it's like my steps, miles, calories. Those three, minimum, average, maximum. Set that up, and I did it for a monthly basis, so January through December. Then I did another one where it was for 6 months, where I took the 6 months that I had from, let's say, January to July, or January to June, and then I just brought that down, fine-tuned it for the month, for the 6 months, and then what was done for the whole year, for the yearly one. So I did those three all on the same spreadsheet. So it's basically what you had entered as for raw data, another one for the month, another one for the 6 months, and then one for the yearly. So you can set that up as you go. The monthly ones you can do already, like as you go. And then as soon as you have, let's say, 6 months worth of data for, from January to June, in the other tab you can set that up saying, okay, here's the data for January to June, so on and so forth. Then you can do that, prepare the next 6 months, do the exact same thing, then you can just extrapolate from there. So as you prepare your monthly one, your 6 months, and have it all shoot up, you'll see the numbers will change as they go, so as the data comes in for it. And I've done this already for the last 2 years, this is going to be the second year that I've been doing that, since I started the spreadsheet actually last year in 2016, and it's been working well. So I like seeing, because I'm a numbers guy, because I deal with computers and all that, so computers and accounting, we like to see numbers sometimes, and sometimes it's, if you want to have a visual effect of seeing how you did overall, that's the way of going as well with this. And this gives you an idea where you're on track for yourself. And don't worry if you tend to slip up on, oh, I had too many of this, too many of that. You'll see as you go, in regards to doing your exercises and all that, you can splurge a little bit here and there, because eventually as your body gets stronger and stronger and you burn more calories, you'll see that you'll be burning more, and the 2,000 is on average about right. You can splurge on a little bit more on certain things than on others. Okay, so you're not, to even things out, because you don't want to starve yourself, you don't want to become bulimic or anorexic. But, just to keep a good average, and when you feel that you're down to a particular weight that you feel comfortable with, and I'm not saying that, because they have the ideal weights from long ago, and, like for 5'11", I'm supposed to be at 187 pounds, or 175 pounds, sorry. I'm at 239, and I'm, sticking to that number because I'm comfortable with it. I'm staying put there. So I haven't gained, I haven't lost since then, and I've been doing fairly well. They're staying at that typical weight. So most people will say, oh yeah, you have to be exactly this, you have to get that, but you look bulimic, when you get to that point. So let me get the other information here, and I'm going to get the links on this, so that way I'll be able to show you, or at least link to the proper places that you can actually download the application. The one for the diet controller, you're going to have to, if you're using a Mac, the diet controller you're going to have to pay for. It's like about $20, $20 or $30. The one for the PC side, which is the diet organizer, is basically free, and they have two versions. One for Windows XP 7, Windows XP, Vista, and 7, and the other one is for Windows 7, 8, and version 10. It hasn't worked. They haven't tested on 10, but I'm presuming it'll work on 10. It's just the way it was compiled, because the kernel is slightly different between Windows XP and Vista than it is with Windows 7, 8, and 10. So I'll be right back in regards to that part. And what I'll do here is give you some extra little tips and tricks in regards to it, because it's going to be helpful for you at the end. And like I said, this should work for both for men and women. So it's not. I'm not trying to be biased. It's just good for one person. It should be good for both. Okay. And this is low cardio, long endurance. Okay. And I'm also going to come back here. I'm going to check with one of my friends if I can mention them into this here. If you are in the States, I have a friend of mine, a very dear friend, who's a Pilates trainer. So I'm going to mention that in this here as well, but I'm going to check with her first before putting it in, because I don't want to do that without her, strict okay on this. Okay, so I'm going to be back in a few moments. Well, welcome back. Okay, I just was speaking with my friend Maddie, who actually has a Facebook page thing there just for fitness for women, and her clientele is basically all women doing the Pilates exercises and all that, which I'm going to give her the thumbs up. I'm going to also include it within the links down below of the Facebook page that she has created, and I'm going to give her kudos for this, because she gets nothing but good remarks from her clientele there. I'll be adding that in, as well as I'm going to be giving the links down below for the diet controller, the diet organizer as well, and also the links to to both LibreOffice and OpenOffice for those who do not have the version of Microsoft Office, so you can have at least a spreadsheet to go with it. Now, like I said, those two are free. The only thing that you have to pay for is the one from the diet controller, and that there requires a minimum of 10.7, I believe, of OS 10 to be able to run it. The other one, which is the diet organizer, will run from Windows XP to Windows 10. Like I said, there's two versions out there. And just to let you know, you don't have to have a powerful system in order to run either one of those two systems, so long as you have enough memory, enough hard disk space for that application, because it's only about 2 or 3 megs in size, but the data over time will get eventually 4 or 5 megs, if not larger. And yes, that'll take some time to load up into, and you don't need anything more powerful than a single core processor, which is like what I'm running here for my systems these days. I'm overdue to getting a good upgrade to at least a quad 4 or a quad an 8-core system. But just for purposes of the diet organizer, you don't need a powerful system for that. It'll work perfectly fine, and you'll be able to keep on track with your diets here. So with this, see your doctor in regards to it, because I want to stress this here heavily for everybody, because it's not an obvious thing for anyone to go through on their own, especially when you don't have any experience. I was lucky enough at the time when I was actually sick in the hospital. I did speak with a doctor in regards to it, just enough to get me on the right track. And this way of doing of losing weight, and I'm going to let you know now as well, you need to have determination in order to do it. In other words, it's all up in here, okay, in order to have it done. I've done it because I needed to do it. I needed to lose the weight, especially when you're considering you're a good 130, 140 pounds overweight. And sorry about the pinging just before. Somebody's pinging me on Facebook. What I want to mention there as well is you have to want to do it. Okay, it's not one of those things. I'll do it today, not tomorrow. It has to be every day. Okay. The other thing as well is encourage your friends to go with you. That way they will be able to do some exercise along with you, and do it as a friendly competition. That's the way I've done it with a friend of mine who's also husky like I am. There's only about 30 or 40 pounds difference between him and I, but we do it for fun, and we encourage each other to, let's get the exercise done. Let's do what we have to do to lose the weight. And so far, he's maybe about 30 pounds still overweight over from what I am. So, but we're still doing it together as for fun. Uh, if you can, do it in a group. Encourage your friends to do this. It's good exercise. It's low. It's not hard on the joints. It's easy to do. You don't need any special equipment in regards to, just a good pair of running shoes, maybe some joggers, especially if you're doing it on the weekend or, after hours or early morning type of thing where you can actually get the walking done. It's beneficial for your health. That's all I can say. I've also seen a nutritionist and somebody who deals with exercising as well, and they've seen the stats that I've been pulling up. I've been keeping very diligent track of this for myself personally, and like I said, I do this on a daily basis, whether I'm working or not. So, it's healthy. Okay. So, with that being said, folks, I'd like to wish you a good night, and I'm going to provide the links down below with this vlog, or about how I lost it. I lost 140 plus pounds. Have yourself a great day, folks.